Hello, Professor Toybox here, along with Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey, and that means it's time for our next episode of Toybox Tutorials. Last time we looked at the Safety Dome, which can be used as a mission objective that the player must attack or defend, and I pointed out that most enemies will immediately attack it as soon as they spawn in the toy box. But there is a way to prevent that, and that is to create a team. And that's our topic for today's tutorial. Now I don't really need teams in this toy box, and because everything is working the way I want in this first courtyard, I don't really want to change any of these Creativitoys. So instead, I've built a separate toy box that I can use to show you how teams work. I'm going to load that up, and I'll meet you there in just a moment. Alright, welcome to the jungle. Mickey and his team have been sent here by the king to search for ancient treasure. There are some ruins on the other side of the river, and on this side is a small clearing where Mickey's team of treasure hunters have set up their camp. They've just discovered their first treasure and brought it out from the tunnels underneath the ruins over there. And a group of bandits burst out of the jungle down there and begin raiding the camp. And so that's the setting for this. And as we get started, the first thing I want to do is put down Odin's treasure canister. Last time I used the Safety Dome, and this toy works very similar, so we're going to use this one. So you can see how this one works, and an equivalent is this one from Stitch's Tropical Rescue, but we'll use Odin's treasure. And I'm going to open up the logic menu for this, and come into the properties. And the canister health is fine, doesn't really matter for this example. The artifact I'm going to set to be the Eternal Flame. And that looks like a nice rich chalice. And so that's the treasure that Mickey's team has discovered. And we'll add Mickey's team first. So I've already put down an enemy wave generator and a number of locators and a couple of buttons. So we'll come to the enemy wave generator first, and we'll connect it up to these locators. And I've got 4 of them, so we're going to have 4 different enemies. And it'll put 1 at each locator. And 1 more. Like that. Alright, and then we'll come down and configure the wave. And I'm going to add in the King's Guards from Tangled. And that would be these guys. And I'm going to generate 4 of them. So those will be the guards that are on Mickey's team. And under the properties, we'll take the countdown delay down to 0. Alright, so on this button, we'll use this one to kick off everything. So we'll do a new logic connection when pressed. We'll come over here and generate the wave. And we'll use the other button as our reset mechanism. So new logic connection when pressed. I will defeat the wave. And we'll also hook this one up to the treasure canister. And do a reset. And that'll restore it to full health and fix any damage. Okay, and so that's what we've got first. So now as we come over here and push the button, this will generate the guards that are on Mickey's team. There they are. And you'll notice the first thing they do is run over and start attacking the treasure canister and Mickey. So the idea with the teams is how do we prevent this from happening? And that's what teams are for. And so what we can do is we'll come over here to the enemy wave generator first. And we're going to come down. There's two ways to establish teams. I'll look at this one in a moment, but we can come down to the properties. This is the quickest way. And we come down to team, and I'm going to set the guards to be on the orange team. And then we can also come over to the treasure canister, to the properties for that, and we'll set that to the orange team as well. And so now both the guards and the treasure canister are on the same team. And so now when we push the button, the guards will leave the treasure canister alone. And they're kind of leaving me alone too. All right. Now we want to put the player on this team. And so to do that, we need Team Activators. And there are 4 of them, one for each of the different team colors. And the easiest way to use it is to place it in the toy box. And since our team is the orange team, we'll put it in the toy box. And for right now, I'm just going to dump it over here. And so the easiest way to use this is for Mickey to step onto it. And you'll notice now he has the orange glow around him. And so we're all on the same team. And that works for enemies and townspeople as well. If they touch it, they'll also be assigned to that team. So you want to be careful where you place these team activators. You can use them strategically to put them at a point where an enemy would have to walk over them. Oh, that guy fell over in the background. That's kind of weird. And that way when an enemy touches it, they'll change teams. Now if you touch it a second time, that removes you from the team. And so now they're coming to run in to attack me, which is interesting. So we'll go ahead and clear them. And I'll touch that team activator one more time to take me off the team. And let's move this out of the way so we don't actually or accidentally touch this. Oop, I have to select the thing. There it is. Okay, and we'll put this down over here. It's not going to be hurting anything over there. Now the other way to put the player on the team is to use a logic connection. And so we're going to come to this button that kicks everything off, and we'll do a new logic connection when pressed. Come over to the Team Activator and open the logic menu. And you can choose to set an individual player to the orange team or all players from the orange team. You can also clear specific players or all players from that team as well. And I'm going to use it to set player 1 to the orange team. And then on the reset button, we'll do a new logic connection when pressed. We'll use that to clear the player from the team. And so now when we push the button, Mickey turns orange. The enemies all spawn in and they're orange. And the treasure canister's on our team. And if we push the button, now Mickey is no longer on a team. And all the enemies are gone. So now we have Mickey and his team. Next we need the bandits. Oh, and before I do that, let's show you one more thing. On the enemy wave generator, if we come down here, we can do a new team connection. This is the other way to put enemies on a team. And if we do that, we come over to the Team Activator, and we use that to set the team. And when we do that, if we come back to the enemy wave generator and we go back to the properties, you'll notice the team option is now gone. So whatever we would have set that to, the connection to the orange team activator has overridden that. And if you want to get that back, you can just come in here, go down to the orange team activator and delete that link. And there doesn't really seem to be an advantage to doing it one way or the other. I think it's easier to use the properties myself, but either way, it does the same thing. Okay, so now let's set up the bandits that will be raiding the camp. And we're going to use this enemy wave generator for that. So we'll connect up that to these locators down here. And while I'm hooking these up, it kind of gives you a chance to look at the toy box a little bit. And maybe you might want to pause it and just kind of see how I built this. So you get more than a passing glance at some of the scenery. And underneath the configure wave, since we have a ton of memory, I'm going to put a variety of outlaws in here. So I'm going to come down to the Lone Ranger enemies. And we'll put one of each and maybe a second one of him. So 4 guards, 4 outlaws. And under the properties, we'll take the generation delay to 0. And interestingly, the team is not available under here. So if you're going to do a new team connection, you have to do that consistently for all of the enemies. And so I'm going to come over here and remove the link for the orange Team Activator. And we'll double check the property here. And you'll notice now the team is back, but it's defaulted to none. So I need to set that again to the orange team. And then we can come over to this enemy wave generator. Come back to the properties. And you'll notice the team options available now. So you can't use a mix of the property and the team activators when you're setting these. You have to do it consistently for each. I have no idea why it enforces that, but whatever. And incidentally, the way we're setting the team for the enemy wave generator works also for the enemy generator, the friend generator, and the friendly wave generator. So it works the same way on all of them. So now we have our enemies for the enemy wave generator, the bandits, and they're all on the green team. And we're going to come over to our button that kicks everything off and do a new logic connection when pressed. And rather than go to the enemy wave generator directly, I'm going to go to this time delayer and start a delay because I want to make sure the King's guards pop in here first and Mickey's team arrives first. So I'll set the delay time to 5 seconds. And then we'll do a new logic connection on the time delayer. When the delay is completed, come over to the enemy wave generator and generate the wave. And the reason I'm doing that is because as I was playing around with this ahead of time, I noticed sometimes the bandits would spawn in before Mickey's team. And this just ensures that Mickey's team shows up first and that they're in place to receive the bandits when they come. And then on our reset button, we'll do a new logic connection when pressed. We'll go directly to the enemy wave generator and defeat the wave. And that will take the bandits out as well as Mickey's team. And so there we go. With that, we're ready to go. And let's push the button and defend the treasure from the bandits. So Mickey's on the orange team. The guards spawn in, and a few seconds later, here come the bandits. And they're on the green team, and they're making a rush for the canister. So now we have to protect the canister from the bandits. And that's the last one, I guess. My guards took care of the other one. So cool. Let's go ahead and hit the reset button. So that was fun. Now I'll leave this as an exercise for you, but you can use the exact same setup and instead set up a green team activator and use that to put the player on the bandit side. It's the exact same setup, but it'll play differently because now you're not defending the treasure canister, you're attacking it with the bandits. You can also change the team you're on dynamically. And so I'm going to use the green Team Activator, and we'll set this down over here just to show you. So as we begin, we'll push the button. Mickey's on the orange team. The bandits spawn in. The enemies spawn in. And then they make a rush for it. And we can turn traitor and come over here, touch the green activator, and now we're on the green team. And now we're working with the bandits. And now the guards are going to attack us, because now we're on the opposite team. And so you can use that to change sides, essentially betraying your original team. So that can be kind of interesting to do. Before I wrap up this video, there are a few more things I want to show you about teams. First of all, townspeople. You can add a townsperson to a team, and they will fight for you, but unfortunately most of them won't have any weapons. They'll just headbutt an enemy or punch them. This means rebel soldiers won't have blasters, Jedi Knights won't have lightsabers, and so on. So when we use a townsperson as a combatant, especially as an enemy, like we did with Chernobog earlier in this series, we have to be creative about how to make them seem like a formidable threat, or at least an interesting one. And you'll see another example when I get to the palace interior in my Aladdin series, and I build the final battle with Jafar, and we put him on a team with the Agrabah guards. Another thing you can do is you can put a mount on a team. And if we come up to the mounts drawer, and I'll just throw a police horse in here for right now. You can come in here and come down to the properties and set a team on the mount. And so we'll put him on the blue team. And I'm not really sure why you would want to do this, because the horse that's on that team, you can still hop on him. And if I go and put myself on like the orange team and we start up our battle here, you'll notice the guards aren't attacking the horse, and the horse doesn't attack the guard. The horse is on the blue team, but I can still hop on him and ride him. The horse doesn't attack anybody, and they leave the horse alone, so I don't really know what the purpose is of putting a mount on a team. I've tried experimenting with that. I can't find any limitations or any different behaviors, so I don't know. There's some other toys you can put on teams. You can put, for example, down in the gameplay toys drawer, if we look at some of the tower defense toys from Assault on Asgard or Stitch's Tropical Rescue, like these little toys here, we can put the umbrella launcher in here. We can put a cannon. We can use this Asgardian barrier. And all of these toys allow you to set a team in the properties. And so this will ensure, if you want to use these toys with teams, that your team will not attack the barrier that's supposed to keep the other team out. And you can assign the cannon to your team so it doesn't shoot your teammates. It'll just shoot enemies on the other team instead of all of the enemies indiscriminately. And the same with this launcher. It'll only trigger if an enemy from a different team happens to approach it. So that can be really useful. There's also some toys in the platforming toys drawer, like this spike trap or the masher. And these also have the team setting underneath the properties. So if you put this on a team, somebody under your team happens to walk over that or over the spikes or underneath that trap, it won't hurt them. So that can be good. And there's some additional toys underneath the Instant Fun category, namely this pop-up turret and the exploding mine that also has team settings. And there's probably more toys as well. So as you're building your toy box, you might pay attention and look around for those kinds of teams, because that'll give you some ideas of things you can assign to your team and put on different teams that will make your team battles a little bit more interesting. So that's it for teams. If you want another example, check out the first video in my Player Battles mini-series. In that video, I used the paintball template and modified it to create 2 teams, so each player is on their own team with 4 other enemies. You'll find my Player Battles mini-series under the Playlists tab on my YouTube channel, or the Player Battles category on my blog. Next time, we'll start working on the second puzzle in the castle interior of my Fantasia toy box. Until then, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.